Um, so I get a lot of questions about how I like medical school and what it's like, and I thought it would be fun now that I have a couple days off to just make a small video about my experiences so far. I'm a medical student at the University of Utah. I started in August, so that means I've been in school for about 6 months. I finished my first year in I think about 2 months. For just a normal day, we have class from 1 to 4. Or I'm sorry, 1 to 5. Gosh, I wish it was 1 to 4. 1 to 5, 4 hours of class. And we get 10-minute breaks between each lecture, or every 50 minutes or so. And sometimes that's it. And the rest of the day we're just studying on our own. Sometimes it gets a little bit more involved than that. I'll give you an example of a more busy day. A more busy day would be, let's see, every few Thursdays I have to drive down to South Jordan and work with a pediatrician in a University of Utah clinic. So I go down there and I go and see patients with her. I kind of do little mock physical exams, and sometimes I'll take a history, and it's kind of like a glorified shadowing experience as of right now, but it's still neat and it's still fun. So I'd be down there for 4 hours, so I'd usually wake up at about 6:30, get there at about 7:30, and then from 8 to noon I'd be working with the doctor. And then I would run to my car. I would drive through Carl's Jr., and with one hand I would be eating lunch, and then with the other I'd be driving back to school. And then I would run to my class, and I would still be late. And then there'd be 4 hours of lecture, or perhaps 2 hours of lecture, and then 2 hours of lab, where we work with microscopes and histology or pathology slides. And then I would go home, get home at about 5:30, maybe exercise for 30 minutes, eat, and then maybe from 7 to 10 or 11, I would be studying. And then I would go to bed, and I would wake up and repeat. So it can get fairly busy in medical school. You've probably heard about that. Some weeks are better than others, though, honestly. Trying to think, last semester, there was this like 3-week period where we were talking about a lot of metabolism and stuff like that, where I just there's this one weekend where I didn't study, and after that I was paying for that for like 2 weeks. It's like impossible to get caught up if you don't do anything for like 3 days in a row in medical school, so I don't recommend doing that. But I remember that there was like this 3-week period last semester where it was just like, you wake up, you study, then you go to bed. And sometimes it's like living with a knife to your back. It's like you wake up and there's this dude there with like a knife going like, dude, study or else I'm going to stab you, kind of thing. So, and then sometimes it's not that bad. Like last semester, the last, I think, 3 weeks or so, I only studied maybe 2 to 4 hours a day besides going to class, sometimes less. So it kind of just depends. And I think the craziest studying session I ever had was, there was this time last semester where I studied from 9 a.m. I took off school that day, studied because I didn't have time to go, 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. the next day. Then I studied for 2 hours, and then I woke up, and then I studied more, and then took 2 tests. So every once in a while, there's something crazy like that will happen. But I'd say on average, I can get a good 8 hours of sleep 5 to 6 times a week. Sometimes 7 out of 7 I can sleep. The first 2 years of medical school is just mostly studying on your own time. You know, there's class for a few hours, but then besides that, there's mostly just unstructured time that you can use as you please. So, if exercising or if sleeping is a priority for you, like it is for me, you can definitely make the time to do that. It just means that you're going to study less or you're going to hang out with friends less. That's another thing that I think it's important to hit on. You definitely have less time to do things that you love besides school, which luckily I actually do love most of the time. It's harder for me to find time to, for example, meet women, find women to date, go on dates. It's harder for me to find time to play music. Music has been a passion of mine for a long time, and it's difficult to find the time to write music and to record and everything like that. And let's see. I also love hiking. I don't feel like I have time to go exploring and go on these huge hikes like I used to most of the time. So it's definitely a sacrifice, but all medical school students understood beforehand what they're getting into, and because of that, I feel like we cope well with our new restricted lifestyle. So I have no regrets with signing up for medical school. I love it. That doesn't mean that I love every second of it. For example, last semester I hated embryology. Seriously, it's so stupid. I don't even know if that stuff is like true. It was some sketchy dude working with like pig embryos in like a basement or something. So who knows? It's like voodoo to me. And no matter how much I studied, I still got half of the embryology questions wrong last semester. So screw embryology. But so there's definitely not everything is going to catch your attention, and not everything is going to absolutely enthrall you in medical school if you get in. But in general, it's I really, really like it. It's really enjoyable. I love the structure. I love the challenge. And I even enjoy the stress that it induces in my life sometimes. I know that sounds sickening and disturbing to a lot of people, but you'll find that a lot of medical school students actually thrive on a little bit of chronic stress. It's invigorating, and overall I enjoy it. Okay, is there anything else I wanted to mention before I end this? Oh yeah, okay. I'll just mention this one last thing. We had to read this book about cancer, about the history of cancer treatment, called The Emperor of All Maladies. I read most of it in, I think, like August. I read like nearly half of it in August before I even started, and it was really neat. But whenever they mentioned certain treatment modalities or specific drugs, I was just like, okay, I don't know what any of that means. After finishing this unit on cancer, though, I this weekend watched the documentary version of this book. 6 hours. It's on PBS. It's really good. And it was just amazing to be able to watch that and this time around understand every single drug that they are talking about and the mechanisms by which they work. And it was really neat to be able to go, oh, I know exactly what that drug does, and I know exactly what this treatment modality means, and it's just it's really neat to know that I really am learning, the things that is going to make me, a competent physician. So that's really neat to me to be able to look back and say, hey, this $37,000 a year thing is really starting to pay off. So anyways, if you have any specific questions, you can go ahead and ask me in the comments below, or if you know me in real life, go ahead and ask me any way you please. Okay, bye.